I woke up today with both excitement and nervousness in my heart. I decided that today would be the day I truly commit to learning English. No more worrying about making mistakes or being embarrassed by my pronunciation. I was ready to give it my all. This is the story of one day in my life as I embark on my journey of learning English from scratch, full of challenges, joy, and valuable lessons. The morning started just like any other day. I woke up at 7 a.m., rubbed my eyes, and slowly adjusted to the light. The first thing I did was reach for my phone, a habit I was trying to break. But today, instead of scrolling through social media, I opened a podcast about English learning. The podcast host was speaking so quickly, and I barely understood a word. But I didn't mind. I focused on the few words that I recognized, like hello, thank you, and good morning. Even though I only understood about 20% of what was being said, it felt like a small victory. I was actively listening, engaging with the language. After 15 minutes of the podcast, I was ready to start my day. I felt proud that I had made a conscious effort to engage with English right after waking up. I decided to have breakfast while reviewing the vocabulary I had been learning throughout the week. I sat down with my notebook and flipped through the pages where I had written down new words. As I sipped my coffee, I tried to recall the meaning of each word and use them in simple sentences. Apple, I whispered to myself, then I like apples. It felt good. My pronunciation wasn't perfect, but I was getting better. Over time, simple words like book, car, and friend no longer seemed so foreign. I started feeling comfortable enough to repeat them out loud, practicing my pronunciation. After breakfast, I knew it was time to face one of my biggest fears, speaking with someone who knows English better than I do. So I called my friend who speaks fluent English. My heart raced as I waited for the call to connect. Hello, my friend greeted me, and I froze for a moment. Hi, how are you? I responded, trying to sound confident. But as soon as the words left my mouth, I immediately doubted my pronunciation. Was it right? Did I sound okay? My friend, noticing my hesitation, smiled and replied, I'm good, thanks. How about you? The conversation went on, and every time I said something, I felt like I could hear the insecurity in my own voice. But my friend was patient, and slowly, I became more comfortable. Even though I wasn't fluent, I realized something important. I was learning. Every sentence, every word, no matter how imperfect, was a step forward. And I wasn't alone in this. My friend was there to help me along the way. By now, I knew that language learning wasn't just about memorizing words. It was about exposure and practice. I decided to watch a video on YouTube that featured a simple English story. It was designed for beginners, and the speaker spoke slowly and clearly. I repeated the words as I heard them, trying my best to mimic the pronunciation. It's a beautiful day, the speaker said. I repeated it. It's a beautiful day. It felt like a victory, just repeating a simple sentence correctly. I realized that even the most basic phrases could be powerful, especially if they were spoken with confidence. At lunch, I sat down to review some basic grammar rules. I pulled out my grammar workbook and looked at a few simple exercises. My goal today was to master the use of to be in English, especially in present tense. I am, you are, he is, she is. At first, I felt a bit overwhelmed. But as I worked through the exercises, I started noticing the patterns. I could understand the logic behind how English sentences were formed. It wasn't magic, it was just practice, repetition, and attention to detail. I smiled when I completed an entire worksheet correctly. It was a small win, but it felt huge. After lunch, I decided to try a language learning app. I had heard about these apps from other learners, and I was curious to see if they could help me. I chose one of the most popular apps for learning English. The app gave me a series of simple exercises where I had to match words with their meanings. It was fun at first, but as the words got more complex, I started to feel a little stressed. Some of the words were familiar, but others were completely new. But I didn't let the stress take over. I took my time, and by the end of the session, I had completed the exercises with a pretty good score. I felt accomplished, especially because I had pushed through some of the harder words. In the late afternoon, I knew that I needed to step up my speaking practice. I decided to try an online language exchange. I was paired with a stranger who wanted to practice my native language while I practiced English with them. At first, it felt awkward. I didn't know how to start the conversation. Should I ask about the weather? Should I talk about something personal? But my language partner was friendly, and that made all the difference. We talked about our hobbies, our favorite movies, and eventually about our daily lives. It wasn't perfect, but we communicated. That was the most important thing. I realized that speaking English doesn't always have to be perfect, it just needs to be understandable. And I could do that. As the evening approached, I sat down to reflect on everything I had learned throughout the day. I pulled out my notebook and went over my vocabulary, grammar, and the sentences I had practiced. I made sure to write down any new phrases or words that I had encountered. I'm learning every day, I wrote in my notebook. It felt empowering to see that phrase on paper. It was a reminder that progress isn't always about perfection, it's about consistency. As I reflected, I realized how much I had grown. Yes, there were still so many challenges ahead, but I was moving forward, and that was enough. In the late evening, I decided to relax a little by watching a TV show in English. I chose a popular sitcom that was known for its simple dialogue and easy-to-understand accents. As I watched, I took note of the expressions and slang they used. I didn't understand everything, but I tried to focus on the context. Sometimes I didn't get the meaning of a word, but I could guess its meaning based on the situation. This experience reminded me of one of the most important lessons I've learned during my language journey. Learning doesn't always happen in the classroom. It happens everywhere, in conversations, in movies, and even in everyday life. By the time the day was over, I felt incredibly proud of myself. Yes, there were mistakes. Yes, there were moments when I felt like I wasn't good enough. But I had learned something new today, and that was what mattered. Learning a language isn't easy. There will be days when you feel like quitting. There will be days when you think you aren't making any progress. But trust me, you are. Every new word, every new sentence, every conversation, it all adds up. If you're just starting out, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn. Be patient with yourself and remember, learning is a journey, not a race. So, take a deep breath, start where you are, and keep going. Your progress may seem slow now, but one day, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. Every day in my life as a beginner in English has been a mix of challenges, triumphs, and learning moments. And that's okay. I'm not perfect, but every day, I get a little better. So, if you're at the start of your language learning journey, know this. You're not alone. Keep practicing, keep learning, and above all, don't give up. You've got this.